All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the ANC3C Planning, Zoning, Housing, and Economic Development Committee meeting, which will be directly followed by the Residential Historic Preservation Review Committee meetings for September of 2024. We are going to start out, and also, again, thank you all for joining and being on time. We're going to start out with the Planning, Zoning, Housing, and Economic Development agenda, which includes BZA case number 19606A, which is modification of significance to BZA order number 19606, St. Albans School at 3101 Wisconsin Avenue Northwest. And the request is to increase the maximum permitted full-time equivalent faculty and staff from 145 to 160, serving a private school in the R1B zone. So, Rick, did you want to introduce or make comments on this? Because this is your SMD, correct?
St. Albans School is within SMD 8, 3C08, where I'm the commissioner. And I spent some time on a call with both Suzanne Wood from St. Albans School and Kristen Scheiker, who is the counsel from Holland and Knight, and their colleagues, both at the school and in the law firm. And it was a useful call because they clarified, among other things, that the original caption in this case from the BZA was incorrect. There is no physical construction or alteration at the school that is planned right now. Moreover, there is no change in the student enrollment. This does pertain only to faculty and staff, and as they'll explain, while there is some net new growth, others reflect a transfer in staff from the Cathedral Foundation, the PECF, to the school itself. So Ms. Woods or Ms. Scheiker, I don't know who will be presenting on behalf of the school or whether both of you, but at this point, I'll turn the floor over to you.
Thank you, Commissioner Nash, and good evening. I'm Christy Scheiker. I'm with the law firm of Holland and Knight, and I am representing St. Albans. Suzanne Woods from the school is here to answer questions, as is Erwin Andres from Grove Slade, our traffic consultant. And I do see that Aaron Summers, has joined as well from St. Albans. So they are going to answer questions after I just do a brief presentation. And is it okay if I share my screen?
Yes, let me make you a co-host, and then you should be able to see down at the bottom the little green share screen button. Great.
All right, great. Thank you so much. So as Commissioner Nash noted, this is an application to increase from 145 to 160 the full-time equivalency in faculty and staff at St. Albans. We are not requesting any new construction. Y'all may remember last year we had come for a small addition to the little sanctuary. Kind of completely unrelated to this, but just that construction is going forward. There is no new construction or new facilities proposed as part of this application, nor is there any new students proposed. So here is the site. I think y'all are all probably very familiar with it, with the Cathedral. St. Albans School is here, and then here are the athletic fields that exist for the school. As you know, St. Albans has been in this location for quite some time. The school is divided into a lower school and an upper school, and the school's enrollment is capped at 600. I believe that our annual transmittal went over to the ANC today to indicate that we are at 595, so continuing to comply with that maximum student enrollment. So we are here again to increase this relatively modest increase. I will point out that the last time we got an increase, it was for just 2 faculty and staff. So we went from 143 to 145. That was back in 2017. And before that, it was in 2005 is where it got set to 143. So not a lot of growth in the faculty and staff. The reason we're here for this is because of primarily 3 reasons. One, over the past year, there has been a reclassification of some employees who are currently on campus already working. They had previously been employed by the Protestant Episcopal Cathedral Foundation, or the Cathedral, and they've now been switched to become St. Albans employees. So these employees aren't new people on the grounds, but they are taking some of those, the maximum number of FTEs that we have. We also, St. Albans has some near-term hiring that it would like to do, some additional security, additional IT staff that is just needed in this kind of post-pandemic world, on-site health professionals who help with record keeping and post-pandemic healthcare. So that's kind of the near term. And then St. Albans is looking at planning for the future. So it's not anticipated that all 15 new hires would come in next year. This is something that they anticipate as growth over time, capturing some of the existing transition staff, looking at some of these near term, and then having some buffer for longer term. That might be staff to support children with learning differences. There may be a capital campaign. You might need to bring on temporarily some new development staff. So that's really what we are looking at. So the standard for a modification to a private school plan is primarily looking at the impacts on the adjacent properties. And this increase will really not have any perceptible increase on noise. Obviously, it's not changing the number of students. We don't anticipate any other objectionable conditions. The increase is having a very de minimis impact upon the traffic network. And Erwin is here and he can answer any questions on that, but it is a very nominal amount of additional trips that would be associated with it. We are continuing to exceed the minimum parking requirement. The parking based on this new faculty and staff number would be 189 spaces. St. Albans continues to provide between 210 and 230 vehicle parking spaces. And again, the development standards, there are no impact on that because there's no new construction. These requirements are all procedural, and we have complied with, filing the documents that are required, providing certificates of service, and it's not acting to extend any past approval. And then finally, it is in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the zoning regulations. The small increase really isn't going to impact the feeling of the high school in this area, and it really is not going to have any additional impacts both to noise or traffic. And there are no conditions that are necessary for the special for the operation of the school. I will say that we have done some community outreach. Obviously, we've connected with Commissioner Nash last October, the Neighborhood Liaison Working Group, which is a body that sits to provide community interaction and updates on what's going on at the university, or excuse me, of the high school. I just have promoted all of these kids to university students. I'm sorry. I think it's because I just got my kids in college, so I apologize for that. So we reached out to them back in October of 23. There were general support, no major issues or concerns with it. The school did reach out to them in August as well. And then there will be a meeting in September to make sure that any questions or issues are being answered. We also are presenting to ANC3A, which is an affected ANC because they are on the other side of Wisconsin in September, on September 17th. So we haven't at this point heard any objections or concerns, but we're happy to answer any questions at this point. Both Suzanne or Erwin can support in that. So thank you.
Great, thank you. Commissioners and committee members, do you have any questions for the applicant here?
I'll just ask one, and again, my questions were largely answered when we met several weeks ago, but just for the benefit of the community, Ms. Scheicher, when you say that the increase in the faculty cap is expected just to have a de minimis impact on trips to the cathedral. Is that simply based on the numbers as compared to the overall number of employees and students who are on the close on a daily basis, or do you have some sense of what percentage of your faculty and staff say arrive by public transit, and you know, what percentage take private cars and in turn park on the close?
I'll let Erwin answer that question.
Yes, good evening, everyone. For the record, my name is Erwin Andrus. I'm with Grove Slate Associates. I guess relative to your question, Commissioner Nash, the 15 employee cap that we're looking to increase consists of primarily 5 employees that are in the range of employees that are looking to be reclassified from essentially foundation staff to St. Albans staff. So essentially the number of new employees is actually closer to 10. And of those 10, we anticipate close to 8 potentially driving with the mode split of about 80% for the school. And of those 8, they would be accommodated on site, on campus, within the parking that's allocated throughout the close, specifically for St. Albans. And it's important to note that typically if they are educators or some facility staff, those staff tend to come a little bit earlier. They don't necessarily come right when school starts, so they're not essentially mixed in with the carpool traffic. And then there's the potential for additional off-peak employees that would come not during the peak. So we're looking to mitigate the peak condition both in the mornings and the afternoons with this proposed plan.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Any other commissioners or committee members before we open it up to the general audience here? All right, seeing and hearing none. If anybody else on this call would like to ask a question or make a comment, you can use the reactions button at the bottom of the screen and raise your virtual hand, or come on camera and raise your hand. All right, I see none of the above. So Rick, do you want to explain moving forward what you'd like to do with this, if it's going to go on consent for our September 16th regular meeting?
Sure. Pending hearing concerns from the community, and particularly the affected neighborhood to the south of the close and to the north, it's my expectation that we'll be offering a resolution. You know, at this point, I'm inclined to support the school's application. And so without further opposition from the community, we would likely hear that on the consent calendar at our upcoming ANC meeting. If for some reason we put it on commission business, Ms. Woods and Ms. Scheiker will let you know. And at that point, the school would, of course, have an opportunity to speak at that meeting.
Great. Thank you. Thank you all for clear, concise presentation this evening and for joining us. So you can carry on here or go about the rest of your very lovely evenings, and hopefully this isn't fake fall and it's real fall. So
Thank
again,
you very much.
Thank you all.
Thanks very much.
Before we close out the planning, zoning, housing, and economic development committee meeting portion of this meeting, does anyone have any other business they'd like to discuss? All right. Hearing and seeing none, we will move right along to the agenda for the Residential Historic Preservation Review Committee meeting. So I'll let one of the co-chairs of that committee take it from here.
I thought Bob was saying goodbye, but he was raising his hand.
Oh,
I'm raising my hand.
sorry. Bob, go ahead.
I was just curious if anyone had heard anything from the Office of Planning about when the commercial area may be set to get rezoned. I had reached out, I hadn't heard anything. I was just wondering if anyone else had.
I have not heard anything else about that yet. I'm assuming they're trying to get the orders from the 1617 U Street and the Chevy Chase one out of the way, and those should be this month and next month, if I'm recalling correctly. I know 1617 is this month probably. But I can check back in with them too. Who had you reached out to, Bob? You can also tell me later, and we can see if we can ping some other folks over there and get a response.
I'll tell you. I'll put it in the chat.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is that it? All right. Historic preservation, residential historic preservation. You want to get started? I think 3238 Rodman's on first, unless you had a different order you wanted to go by.
That sounds good. I see Mike Reifer and Pete Nettlebeck right there. So this is in my SMD. This is 3238 Rodman Street, HPA Application 24-438. I just want to keep in mind this is a non-contributing structure to the Cleveland Park Historic District, but it is still going in front of HPRB. Commissioner Paget, oh, you've already made Pete co-host. That's great. Pete, I encourage you to share your screen. Keep it brief as the previous presentation. We don't need too much detail. So, 5 minutes, I would say max. And I'm sure if people have questions, they might make you go to some other slides that you might not necessarily show. But yeah, I will hand the virtual floor over to you.
Okay, thanks, Wally. Appreciate it. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. My name is Pete Nettlebeck. I'm an architect working on the project at 3238 Rodman Street Northwest. The owners are Mike Reifer and Tara Azimi. This project is located in the R2 zone and in the Cleveland Park Historic District. We've had a few zoning concerns. We met back with a zoning technician back in February, and we're able to resolve all the issues that we had according to lot occupancy, side yard, setbacks, pervious surface, and rear yard. So we have a zoning determination letter from Kathleen Beaton giving us the approval and the go-ahead from a zoning perspective. From a historic perspective, this house was built in 1949 and is a non-contributing home. Had a call with Todd Jones. He advised me to reach out to the ANC, and we're also planning to meet with Stephen Hansen from Cleveland Park Historic Society next week. We're going to present to them. So these are images from the street, from Rodman Street, looking at the subject property, 3238, looking east. And basically across the street, there are no structures across the street. It's the Reservation 630, or formerly Melvin Hazen trail. And so there's nothing, basically no structures across the street. And as you can see, the addition that we're planning to put on is a second story addition off the rear of the property. And it's going to be at the back. So it's going to have minimal street visibility. Image from Rodman Street looking west. Some exterior images. This is the site plan. You can see we have 3 adjacent neighbors from behind. We've reached out to all 3 of those neighbors and generally received positive feedback from them concerning the property. And we're in the process of trying to gain letters of support. These are existing existing drawings for the cellar level, for basement level, ground floor, roof, existing elevations from the east, existing front elevation from the north, existing rear elevation from the south, existing west elevation, and this existing section facing west. So these are proposed plans. And really this is the front of the house. It's down here. I don't know if you can see my cursor, but this is the highlighted section is the addition, which is going to be in the rear of the property. And you can have a little bit better look at looking at this section. So this is existing here. We're basically adding another level, and we're mirroring the roof line from the existing roof line that we have here. Proposed east elevation, proposed north elevation, proposed west elevation, rear elevation, and then some renderings. So this is a pretty good idea of kind of what you'd see from the street. You kind of, from the sidewalk, you kind of look up, and most of the roof line is obstructed by the existing roof line. And then some of the materials, Windsor Pinnacle clad casement windows, we're going to match those which are already existing in the house. And we're going to keep that same color palette. In the rear of the house, we're going to use Hardy Artisan siding, V-groove, and similar style stacking door system, also from Windsor in the sable color. So that's basically it.
Wonderful. Thank you for keeping that brief.
Yeah.
And you touched on at least the points I was most thinking about. View from the front of the place. I do appreciate that drawing, although I don't know if it deliberately is supposed to look like Mike Reifer. Maybe if you take the glasses off. But Mike, you're here. I'm wondering if you wanted to add anything to what Pete said.
Sure, if I can get myself off mute. Hi, I was just going to say hi, and thanks for consideration. No, nothing in particular to add. Yeah, I mean, just to underscore the point that there are no structures across the street, only trees, and not even a sidewalk. So, you know, we've been out and walked it many times on the sidewalk on our side of the street. You know, it'll be minimally viewable from the street at all. So, but yeah, let us know if you have any other questions. Bye.
Thank you.
And after talking to Todd Jones, he basically said he didn't think there'd be too many issues considering we're a non-conforming home or non-contributing home.
I'm going to open it up to committee members if they have any questions. Commissioner Nash, please go ahead.
Sure, Mr. Nettlebuck, thanks very much for the presentation. So yeah, just to follow up on the one statement you said. So when you spoke with HPO staff, Todd Jones, did he request any changes to the design of substance?
No, he didn't. He said this he didn't see any issues with it.
Okay, and what is the difference or the delta between the new roof line and the existing roof line? It looks like it's less than a story.
Yeah, so it's kind of it's probably, I don't have the exact dimension. Actually, let me see in this elevations, I might have better. I don't know. It's probably about 4 feet.
Okay.
Give or
And
take.
did you said that the adjacent neighbors were generally in support. Did any raise any substantive concerns? And if so, how have you addressed that?
So far there have been no negative comments. Everybody just kind of said, hey, this looks good. But we're in the process of getting letters of support. So we've already sent out the Mike and Tara sent out the letter, historic neighborhood notification letter, and they basically generally said positive things.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Nash. Any other committee members? Any questions? Okay, I will open it up to members of the public. If you have any questions, you can raise your virtual hand. You can type to me in the chat. If you're raising your physical hand, I'm not seeing everyone on camera, so you might have to find another way to reach me. All right, I don't think we have any other questions. Well, thank you so much for this quick and efficient presentation. As follow-up, I will be emailing you both with a draft of a resolution. I haven't heard any negative comments yet either. I plan on writing a resolution in support, and if commissioners and everyone else is okay with it, I will request that this also be put on the consent calendar for our September meeting, which means it hopefully gets unanimously approved without any more discussion. But I will follow up with you both about the resolution. And so watch out for an email from me. And then once we settle on that, we'll keep you updated on what's happening for our September meeting and the vote. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
I
Wally.
also thought it looked like Mike in the rendering too, so that cute.
I'm glad it
Thank
came
you all.
across.
No comment on whether or not Pete intentionally made this look like me.
But this is an awesome rendering. By the way, this view is so important in all of these cases to see it from the street and not that hero image. So anytime I see a view like this as the last image, I really appreciate it when we're having discussions like this. Whether or not Mike is present in all of them, it doesn't matter, but that was a good touch. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
all.
you. All right. Next on our agenda is 2621 Garfield Street Northwest. Commissioner Pagets, do you happen to know which SMD and who the presenters might be?
I believe that is Hayden's. Yes, it's Hayden's SMD, 2621 Garfield Street. So that's in 3C01. It's to demo an existing rear yard garage and build a new 2-story ADU/garage on the same footprint. I am not remembering off the top of my head who the presenters are. So if there is a presenter here,
Presenters are here.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
I'm here, Vaslav Malik here. I'm the architect. John Dunford, the owner, I don't believe was going to be able to make it, so it'll just be me today.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Pagets. So sort of similar instructions. We'll give you about 5 minutes. Please focus mostly on sort of the view from the street, and if you've been in touch with any neighbors, and you can provide the other details as well about the additions, and then folks can ask questions if they have it. So we'll hand the virtual floor over to you.
Great. I'm going to share my screen here and then hopefully you guys can see my screen here.
Yes.
Okay, great. So we are proposing to build a ADU and garage on top or in lieu of an existing garage. This is kind of the standalone picture, but I'll go through some of the details as we go through it. Here's a kind of an overview, bird's eye view. We are in Garfield, and Connecticut is kind of the south of us. There's a more zoomed out version here, but this is the main building here in the front with the Google kind of pin here, and in the back is our site. There's direct access. There's an alley here with parking lots, and there's direct access through the back into the building, and a garage with direct access with an overhead coiling door. Here's another view. Here's Garfield here, which is the name of our address. And then here's Connecticut Avenue. Again, here is the existing piece, and there's some trees here. Here's just kind of a view from close up. Here you can see the existing garage, one-story garage, brick garage. And then here is our site plan. So we are proposing to reuse the existing footprint. Everything that we're proposing is by right for an ADU. So I'll get through some of the dimensions after, but you know, we're holding everything tight. This is actually going to be 20 feet. We got to verify it in the field a little bit better, because that was one of our comments. We just received our first round of permit comments. I guess we weren't really expecting to get a historic review, but apparently every single ADU, even in the back end, does have to get a historic review, which we're fine with. We actually wanted to kind of make it appropriate for the neighborhood. I actually lived in this neighborhood a few years back, and I think it's got a lot of great character. But here I'll zoom into some of the parts. Here's kind of an overview here: Connecticut, Garfield, and then the two views we looked at earlier. Here is the existing condition. It's just a one-story garage. It's in very poor shape, and there's fear they might fall over. The owner doesn't even really feel comfortable parking the car in there, and we just want to reuse the same footprint, not change anything about it. And again, here you can see we're just going to remove this whole piece. There's direct access here existing from the alley and parking lot area to the back, and just a full raise. And then here are the floor plans. So on the first floor, it's just going to be a normal garage, and then on the upper level, you'd walk up to the back, spiral staircase up. There's a little deck here, which provides cover for the path underneath. And then there's kind of an overhang here, protecting the deck, which also kind of protects views from that very large building along Connecticut Avenue. And then here's some of the elevations. So here's the looking directly from the alley. We kind of try to keep it a historic kind of aesthetic to it, with a cornice and just siding. The siding will be hardy plank cement board siding, as we need that along the property line for fire rated reason. And yeah, we just try to keep it kind of traditional and try to fit in with the neighborhood. We're more than happy to kind of make it more authentic if there's any specific comments to get it closer, but we really wanted to fit in. Here's a section, again, unconditioned garage underneath, conditioned space up top. Each floor is about 357 square feet. So it's very, very small. Here's some axonometric views. Doesn't have the property lines here, so you can see the whole thing, but again, ground floor here, you walk up to the staircase up over, have a little deck here, and then it's covered. And that's the unit inside. And then here's just a simple kind of overlay. It's still a little rough. We weren't sure if we're going to present at this presentation until a couple weeks ago. So this is what it would look like. It's, you know, there's actually a lot of examples of garages in this whole yard. I'm calling a yard, this alley area. No one has a 2-story ADU, but there are a lot of decks on top of it, as you can kind of see here, and there's multiple examples of it, of kind of like a 2-level garage deck. So it wouldn't be too much out of the place, I don't think, and actually would kind of contribute to the atmosphere here in the back. So that's the presentation synopsis.
Thank you. Similarly, committee members, are there any questions? Go ahead, Commissioner Peckets.
You're not asking for like any zoning relief or any other relief. This is just strictly-
Correct. It's all by right. Existing footprint also, no variances. Yeah, it's just all by right.
It's just because it's in the historic district that it's.
Yeah, and I think this may be a new rule with the ADUs, but I heard the permit comment was all ADUs now require a historic review. So I don't know if that's new or not, but you know, we welcome it. We weren't actually expecting it to be reviewed, but you know, we welcome any comments.
Great, thank you.
Commissioner Nash?
3 similar questions. First, has the applicant spoken with adjacent neighbors, and is there any feedback? And next question, have you spoken with HPO, and what feedback do they have?
with regard to the neighbors, we've reached out. We've sent the neighbor notification letter. The owner has been in communications with one side. She had no design or issues. She was just curious about the duration of construction and things like that. I have not heard any comments from Historic Preservation Office or no one's reached out. I'm just going through the building permit process. And so I don't know if I should be reaching out to any other historic entities. So no, I have not talked to them, and nor have I been contacted.
Okay. One final point, you may want to consider putting one of those posts where the corner of the building meets the paved part of the alley. It looks a little exposed there, but I realize it's within code.
That's a good comment. Yeah, I mean, that's why we made the lower level actually CMU. So, I mean, at least we won't crash it from the inside. But yeah, those are great comments.
Thank you, Commissioner Nash. Okay, doesn't seem any other committee members have questions. Any non-committee members have any questions? Or if any other committee member just suddenly also realized they had a question. Again, you're welcome to raise your hand, type it in the chat, however you want to interrupt. I'm unable to see physical hands. Commissioner Kripke, go ahead.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, great. No, I'm just I'm curious about the ADU. Can you say more about the ADU? Generally, we've this ANC has been interested in encouraging ADU construction and trying to make it more feasible. So I'm curious about what the owner is planning for the ADU in terms of does it have a kitchen, for example, or bathroom? I'm just curious about what the ADU is going to be like and how what their expectation of use is.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is my first ADU that I'm designing. It's been a learning experience for me. It's a 350 square foot unit with a bathroom, a small little kitchenette. It's basically like a hot plate and a college fridge kind of size. It's intended to be like a P-Terre unit for the owner. He doesn't live here full time in this building. He has before, but he rents out the main building. And he just kind of realized that his parking garage is not really doing anything for him. He's a wonderful client. I've worked with him on multiple other buildings, and he just thought of, what can we do with it? And we thought of different ideas. We even kind of thought about having an underground lift for a car to maximize the space, but that became a little cost prohibitive. So it's just probably going to be a location for him when he comes back into DC that he can stay there the night or two and just have a place to rest his head. So yeah, everything by right. I actually thought DCRA has some good kind of information on the website for it, so I follow that greatly. I think there's actually some ADU architects that specialize in this. But this is new for me, but I've had a pleasure doing this. And, when we got a little nervous with the historic, but, we try to kind of blend it in. That neighborhood is really special. So we didn't want to take away from it, especially with the huge, there's like I think it was built in the 60s or 50s, those apartment buildings on Connecticut side. But yeah, it's been a new thing, but it's just kind of like a dorm room, hotel room stay for a limited time.
Okay, thanks for that.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Malik. Commissioner Geis should be reaching out to you. I encourage you to email her and CC me. My email is 3c05@anc.dc.gov. Again, we haven't heard any negative feedback on this. So if you can email us and then depending on how Commissioner Geis wants to deal with this, we can take it from there.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right. Oh, Commissioner Prinzo said he thinks he's writing it. So please the CC Commissioner Prinzo as well.
Okay.
3C02@anc.dc.gov. All right. Wonderful. Thank you. We're now going to our next HPRB application, 2944 Macomb Street Northwest, installing a temporary wheelchair lift at front stoop of residence for owner to have easier access to home. Mr. Field is here, and also Mr. Jarath is here. I will say this is a temporary structure, and in my opinion, I think it's horrible that the owners have to go through with this. I'm really sorry that you have to be here today. I'm really sorry you have to go in front of HPRB. I just think it's horrible that we even have to do this. Just letting everyone know, I will be putting comments like that in the resolution, requesting that HPRB no longer make owners go through this process for something that is so important for livability and quality of life. It's really, really disgusting that they have to go through with this. So with that, Mr. Field, I will hand over the virtual floor to you. Similar instructions, please. If we can keep it to 5 minutes, relevant presentation, and then we'll ask questions if we have any. Thank you. Oh, and I'll just add, we have been, and I forwarded to the entire ANC, we've received notice from Mr. Todd Jones that they don't see too much of an issue in approving this. We've also been forwarded 4 letters of support for this project as well that I forwarded to the entire commission. So thank you, Mr. Field. Now you can go ahead. I just ask you to unmute.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Commissioner Siddiqui. Can you see the screen okay?
We can see it.
Yep.
All right. So this project is for a standalone wheelchair lift at the front of the house at 2944 Macomb Street. As Commissioner Siddiqui mentioned, we have 4, now we have 5 letters of enthusiastic support for this. We are putting it on the front of the house because there's really restricted access to the side of the house. There's no real positive way for our client to gain access to the house other than the front of the house. So if you can see these images here, this is the front of the house. There is a landscape garden out front. Our client is a landscape designer. It's a beautiful garden. And so this island, the island out front will help to obscure this a bit. And then our goal is to, if you can see this square here, we'll set the wheelchair lift there and have plantings around the lift to help obscure it. And we are going to paint the lift to match or to fit in with the garden. So it's really a pretty simple proposal. We will remove this section of wood rail, and when there comes a time when the wheelchair is not there, we would replace the rail. So that we have done a rendering here that shows roughly where the lift would be, what it would look like. There's a ramp here. The top of this lift is right about in line with the existing railing. And again, we'll have plantings on both sides. It will be painted to make it as subtle as possible. And this will give our clients easy access. In here, it lifts up to the porch level where there will be a gate at the top, and she can proceed into that house from there. So that's kind of what I have for a presentation. There's not a whole lot to it. Here is the site plan, the existing front porch, Macomb Street at the front, and this is the lift, the front stairs, and you can see, some of the constraints of the lot.
Thank you, Mr. Field. And again, thank you for being efficient. That was perfect. I also know Mr. Jarath is here, who is the owner. I'm wondering, Mr. Jarath, you don't have to say anything, but if you would like to add any comments, you're more than welcome to at this point.
Thank you all very much for considering this lift. My wife and I have been owners and residents for almost 20 years on Macomb Street in Cleveland Park. We love the community and historic nature of the environment. Our hope is for my wife to be able to stay in this home as long as possible.
Thank you. Thank you for the efficient presentation. All right. I will do the same thing, open it up to any committee members that have any questions. You may raise your virtual hand, or you may type in the chat. If you're going to raise a physical hand, I will not be able to see you. I can't see all the cameras, so please raise a virtual hand if possible or unmute yourself. Commissioner Paggett.
I also very supportive of this project and second everything that Swale said in the beginning about how this should not be something that you have to go ask permission from the government and your neighbors to gain access to your home when you need it. So I'm glad that he's going to take the lead, and I'll definitely be helping, you know, add that to what we submit with our comments regarding this proposal. So I appreciate it, but I too am sorry that you have to do it.
Thank you for that.
Okay. I don't see any other committee members. Anyone from the public who would like to say anything or any comments? Bob Ward.
Hi, we're neighbors, a couple doors down on Macomb Street. Very strong support of this application, and echo your comments about, you know, feels like this is how you need to, if you need this, it shouldn't have to be something you have to ask for.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any other comments? All right. Wonderful. So, Mr. Jarrett, Mr. Field, thank you so much. Like I mentioned, I will be drafting a resolution in support. I will send it to you both just to ensure accuracy. And if we needed to include anything else in support of the application, you're welcome to tell me that too. We'll probably also add some general comments as well. But I will be reaching out to you both with a draft. If there's nothing, if you need any other help, please reach out to me. But thank you so much for attending tonight, and we hope this goes smoothly.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Wonderful. I'll ask my co-chairs, Commissioner Nash and Commissioner Kripke, and of course our honorary co-chair for all the committees, Commissioner Paggett, if there's any other item for discussion that we would like to discuss tonight.
I don't have anything more.
Okay. Great. Well, thank you all so much for attending this joint meeting. Commissioner Paggett, do I have to hand it back to you to adjourn the meeting?
No, because we moved on to your meeting.
All right, perfect. Well, we really appreciate you all joining our committee meeting. And then these will be up for vote at our Monday meeting. So watch out for that and watch out for our website for updates. So thank you all so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.